And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, as always, joined by Raj Chapalu after these games. Raj, you and you hopped on here and I laughed right away because you looked exactly like I thought you would look on the other side of that game. How you doing, buddy? Are you okay? Jen asked how my blood pressure was, and I was like, I need more wine. Like my blood pressure is too sober. Is what the reading was.
Yeah, I had to remind myself to breathe, grabbing my hair. I promise I did not just run home. I wasn't torn through anything. Just that was a rough one, man. I'm sweating, like it's hot. It's not that hot, but I'm like sweating in my house, and I forgot to even go touch the AC because I just have been standing here watching the game the whole time. I have not moved. That was a ridiculous game. I was like, oh wait, I have to go and talk about this. I have to go and be like coherent and have words together after all that. I'm just screaming, nonsensical things throughout. Like, no, what are you doing? And I have to be like, well, this is how we won the game, and it's tough. I'm doing well. I'm better than if they lost for sure.
So I made the mistake of watching this one in my living room.
Mm.
I when it went to overtime, I thought about going out to my deck where I could yell. Right, I'm outside and I'm not waking anybody up if I yell. And then LeBron gets that last and one that essentially iced the game, and I almost like blew a blood vessel in my head, just like trying not to yell in that moment. I also blew multiple blood pressures over the course of the game, trying not to yell, or actually yelling in some spots at Darvin Ham. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to talk about that. We got to talk about like LeBron finally turned the corner on Xavier Tillman. Like we saw it, it has
Yes.
happened. That was a pretty big development. Anthony Davis had a rough one in this one. Again, it was one of those games where he looked like he was trying not to jump. He was playing this one with ankle weights, and it didn't go particularly well for him. But look, man, all that matters, especially in the spot, Lakers are up 3-1, going back to Memphis with a real chance, I think, at closing out this series. Yeah, I would ask you, hey man, like just fully sum up how, put me in the room with you while you're watching that. But I'm a little afraid to. Like, you seem like the type. Have you considered? Is your TV mounted in your living room?
No, it's just sitting there. Well, I'm actually I'm
Okay.
watching it, so I have it on the TV, then I'm also on the playback watching it as well. It's so weird. Somehow
Oh yeah.
my TV is behind the playback, which is just really weird. So I'm actually watching here, then I'm looking there, and I'm like looking here, I'm looking there. And yeah, my mom's actually here. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. Like I'm good."
Are you okay, Raj? Just like on the floor. Help! Help! Um. Yeah.
I'm sweating. Like I'm watching Darvin Ham there just look completely fine. I'm like, dude, I'm sweating bullets over here. But no,
Well, that's
it was
kind of part of the
screaming.
problem. But like, yeah, it's. See, I pictured you. I forgot about playback. I'm glad that you mentioned it, though. Raj can be checked out during these games on playback, the app, where he and the rest of the All Access team do their thing. I'm on there on Thursdays, usually in triangle form with Aaron and Harrison. So check out All Access Lakers over there. Great stuff. Raj, you and Shub, I would imagine we're watching this one tonight.
Yeah, well, Shub was actually at the game, so we had some other guests, Rome and Vinay were on there with me. But yeah,
Okay.
it was tiring to watch that. I honestly thought when
See,
Memphis
that's
went,
way harder than this. This, like, you can, over the course of the show, you'll sink into it and you'll be able to
yeah,
remember some parts of the game. But like the pressure cooker on games where the Lakers actually had pressure, it's so hard not to fully devolve into holy shit, and that be like the entirety of my analysis. Like that is not like
it's
that
kind of
is
what it
not what
is,
people are.
honestly. Like at the end of those games, if you're looking for like which scheme exactly is running, like it's not happening with 2 minutes left. It's too emotional going on. They said like LeBron had 19 rebounds. I was like, he has 19 rebounds? Like I had no idea.
Yeah, that was. It was kind of crazy. Well, it was funny. It was like two polar opposite responses, right? Because like you're saying, they say LeBron, the first Lakers since Shaq to have 2020 in a playoff game.
Mhm.
And then like AD steps to the free throw line either late in the fourth or into overtime, and he had a single going, and I'm like, this mother, like, it's like with LeBron, you're like, holy shit, what a game, LeBron, and with AD, like, what the
Oh,
so,
man.
all right, let's actually try to nail some of this
Yeah.
down, though, and try to recap this game. I want to start with, and look again. I want to be clear here. This is a obviously vastly mostly positive game, like certainly result, right? But I thought the process that the Lakers took to getting here was bonkers, you know.
Oh my god.
And like I think I want to start macro with you. To me, the advantage that the Lakers have in this series, size, athleticism, length, right? They have like waves that they can come at Memphis in this regard. And for some reason, Darvin was like, "Nope, all guards. We're going 3 guard lineups. We're throwing guards." And to me, the way that I look at it is Memphis's strength, the thing that the Lakers flat out cannot match up with them with, is guard play. Like John Morant, Desmond Bain, those guys are significantly better basketball players than D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves. Like they just flat out are. And it was kind of frustrating. Like I think Jared Vanderbilt hardly plays in the second half. Rui Hachimura played 8 minutes in the first half. And for some reason in this one, Darvin was like trying to match up with Memphis's skilled guard play, and it doesn't make any sense to me. What's your read of that situation?
Well, I think the issue, number one, Austin Reeves picked up his third foul, right? I thought that kind of changed the rotations a little bit. And then Jared Vanderbilt, Anthony, had a quarter where he like left Earth for a little bit in the first quarter. 2 threes, was taking every jump shot. I was like,
Yeah.
is this part of the game plan? I mean, I was
He was
cheering
so
for
wide
it.
open. He was
Yeah,
so
but
he was so open.
yeah, but he'll be open, like he'll be open this whole series. He's been open the whole series. Like it was bad process, like you just talked about. It kind of embodied to me the game. They're like, we're not guarding Jared Vanderbilt, which they haven't been all series. But he's like, I'm just gonna shoot
Yeah.
tonight, and he hit 2 threes. He went 2 for 5. He had
Jared
10 points.
Vanderbilt goes full Leroy Jenkins.
Who's Roy Jenkins?
Leroy Jenkins? Oh, come on. All right. If you're listening right now in the comments or whatever, wherever it is, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, Leroy
Player?
Jenkins? No, Leroy Jenkins is a YouTube clip that went viral back. Granted, when I was in college, but still, like they were that was a like what like maybe one of the first viral clips ever. These guys are playing like some video game online. Oh my god.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
You go
well,
ahead
you
and
tell
keep
me.
talking. I'm gonna find this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna you go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna find this. Good
Really
lord.
quickly, I googled it and I'm like, I have no idea what this is. This makes no sense to me. The first 5 images on Google, I was like, I have no idea what this is. But anyway, yeah. So
Leroy
Jared
Jenkins
Vanderbilt,
is like the first thing that like when I type L into YouTube search thing, Leroy Jenkins pops up.
you've seen it, you've typed it before. That's probably why. No,
No,
no. But anyway,
not on this computer.
so yeah, Leroy Jenkins. Anyway, Jared Vanderbilt, they're playing off him. He had 10 points in the first quarter, 5 the rest of the game. He did have a lot of offensive rebounds, but Anthony, he was a minus 18 tonight. And then Rui
Yeah.
Hachimura, 2 for 9. The first bad Rui game, right? 1 for 4 from 3. Kind of hesitated a little bit on his threes. They were really short. And Darvin Ham's like, look, I'm gonna go with my 3-guard lineup. He went with D'Lo, Austin, and Dennis, right? Dennis, D'Lo, and Austin. And I thought that lineup has actually played well throughout the season. The issue to me though is we kept attacking Jaren Jackson Jr. in the we kept going right into the paint where Jaren Jackson Jr. was selling out and Anthony Davis was standing in the corner or they weren't guarding him. He took 1 3. But yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. had 5 blocks. It felt like 15 in there. So I agree with I understand where Ham was going with that. To me, the issue was not calling that timeout when they went on a 14-1 run to close the half. He did not call a timeout there, and D'Angelo Russell just being absolutely awful until the last 2 minutes or the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, where he hit two big time jump shots to bring us back in the game. But I understood it. Vanderbilt was killing our spacing and our half court. You talked about LeBron being able to turn the corner. It felt like he just went into that like energy bank. He's like, let me pull this out one time. Like, I don't have very many drives left, but let me like pull this one drive off Tillman. It looked like Jackson would have blocked it if he didn't cut his fingernails today. Like, he was right there to block that one too, and it went in. But I think that's why he went small. He went with D'Lo, Austin, and Dennis. D'Lo eventually D'Lo fouled out. So he went back to Rui, who was fantastic in the overtime rebounding. That was huge. I think he got like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds in overtime. But I understood him going small. Like, our half court offense was terrible. Jackson was mucking everything up, and then LeBron and AD were being physically outmanned. They were not calling any of those touch fouls. AD and LeBron both were talking to the refs, but the refs were like, "No, play on. We're letting all this physicality go." And they didn't they didn't take advantage of that until the overtime. But I thought that's why he went small, and I kind of understood it. AD and LeBron can't be removed from games because of Memphis's defense, though. Like, offensively, I thought they got kind of removed from it, but it's what
that's
it
kind of
looks
the
like.
thing, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's part of the problem when you go to so many guards is eventually those guards are going to want to do guard things, right? Like, eventually those guards are going to be like, hey, I usually have the ball, right? Dennis Schroeder useless when he doesn't have the ball, so he's going to want the ball. D'Angelo Russell thought like every time he touched it, it was his time to shine. Austin Reeves in the first game of this series was like the guy down the stretch who was handling the ball, and I think LeBron went from like late in the third quarter to deep into the fourth quarter without attempting a shot.
yeah,
And I just think like, yeah, I I understand like kind of the why, I guess. But to me, the thing that I thought heading into the series and was proven for the first 3 games of the series was that if the Lakers can succeed going big, there is no counter, right? There is nothing that Memphis can do to get themselves back into the game. And early in this game, the way that the Lakers built their 15-point lead was be big, be long, get stops, get out in transition. And I want to talk about the late game transition stuff because that was kind of annoying. But yeah, I just think when Darvin shrinks down the team, not the rotation. I've been begging for him to shrink down the rotation, but shrinks down the team and matches up guard for guard with Memphis, that plays directly into what Memphis wants to do. And like, yeah, the Lakers were able to finish this thing out. Russell hits his 2 or 3 straight 3-pointers that were absolutely monstrous. So it winds up working out. So at the end of the day, like, it is just me kind of whining for the sake of whining because the result is what it is. But I really do hope coming off of this game that Darvin realizes like, yeah, we got to go back to just being bigger than these guys. We are like the Lakers are just bigger than they are, and it has really bothered John Morant in the paint, and like yeah, I like if anything, I thought that this game was almost an overreaction to the way that Ja scored in last game, right, where he scored whatever it was, 45 points
45.
and so many like 6 3-pointers, whatever he hit, and like I saw like at various points during the game. I saw Lakers going over screens with Ja into a deep into a deep drop, and I'm just like, what? Like, how did y'all lose the script like to that extent to where you think that is the move with this guy? And yeah, again, it works, doesn't matter, but it's just it was an annoying way to stretch out a game that I didn't think needed to be stretched out.
Yeah, and I want to give Memphis a little credit. I think one adjustment that they really went to was they really try to pick on D'Angelo Russell. So they did more like John Morant, Dylan Brooks screens, try to like pick on him. And D'Lo, I thought was just really bad defensively. A lot of like really bad and ones that he gave up. Had that really terrible foul on Bane too, where he actually fouled out. But again, though, you hold Anthony to what's go from the field? 8 for 24. Uh, yeah, 8 for 24 for 1 for 6 on threes. So that 3-point shooting obviously didn't continue on from game 3. And I thought Vando did a fine job on him. It just like I just think like the conundrum that Darvin Ham's in is like if Vando's on the floor and Jackson plays off him and AD's not playing well, like that's a tough thing to have on the floor, right? So you have Vando, AD, and LeBron, and AD just can't get going offensively. So now you have like pretty much 2 zeros out there because Vando is just absolutely negative spacing, and our jump shooting is not there. LeBron goes 1 for 7 from three. We were trying to do handoffs with Vando and LeBron where he curls for threes. And LeBron's threes, Anthony, are from like 35 feet. They're not even like regular threes anymore. He's
Yeah,
taking
they're
like
like step backs that, yeah. They
way,
don't do anything for anybody else on the court, by the way.
Exactly. And then D'Lo had some threes. I was like, what are you doing? Like on some of those, there are some of those where it's like we got an offensive rebound and went to him and he took like a contested one. But yeah, if our three is not going and Vando has no one to pitch it to on handoffs, he's going to be a negative out there. And then we went to Rui, who also wasn't having a good game. 2 for 9 from him, 1 for 4 from three. They really closed out. And I thought, he kind of lost a little confidence on his jump shooting. He still finished somehow plus 18, which is nuts. Plus
But
18
like,
for Rui
how much of him, like, looking out of rhythm and stuff like that had to do with he
Yeah.
played 8 minutes in the first half, man. Like,
Yeah.
that is
No,
just
that's
he's
too
been
low.
the story of the series, right? He is earned. It was almost like the Lakers contacted him. He was like, hey man, he's gonna be really expensive at this rate.
Oh
Is
no.
there any way whatsoever? I mean, shit. I'd go so far as to be like, Jeannie called him up. Hey, if we lose this one, we get an extra home game, right? Like,
Oh,
there's a
man.
possibility of an extra home game here. Watch for that in the next one. By the way, I'm
Oh
kidding.
my god.
Am I
No, but
kidding? Am I
the reason
kidding? I'm
it,
kidding. I
it was
think I'm
kind of a
kidding.
little.
I'm not
It
kidding.
was. I hope so. It's a little bit of a little bit of a Galaxy Brain 2 thing as well because Troy Brown was playing well, so like he was taking Rui's minutes, right? I think Troy had like 14 minutes or something in the first half, and Rui was at like 8. And that was because we were actually playing really well. We had Troy Brown on John Morant during those like second unit lineups. He was playing extremely well, and then that D'Lo 3 rimmed out, and we just lost all like intentives. We just like lost everything we were doing, our focus, our intensity, and they went on a 14-1 run where again just no timeout, and that's where Rui didn't get checked back, and Darvin Ham was just like, "Can we just get to the locker room?" I'm like, "Dude, there's 3 minutes left. We got like you gotta play
Yeah.
you gotta play this out." And yeah, I thought that's kind of why. And then Rui played so he played 18 minutes in the second half. So yeah, he got minutes there, but I don't know. That's a tough conundrum for Ham to be in, where like he has to choose between Vando and Rui, and then if they're not going, then I think he goes to his 3 guards because LeBron also Anthony wasn't effective with the ball in his hands until like the end of overtime. Like so he was deferring to D'Lo, to Dennis, who had terrible turnovers, but like, can you blame Dennis in those situations? Like, you're giving to Dennis Schroeder fourth quarter late and like, hey, go make the play. And he's like, LeBron's trying to be the screener for him. Like, man, no, the ball has to be in LeBron's hands. Fourth quarter overtime, like that's got to be your time. But I think that was the reasoning. But I get it going bigger. I thought we got killed on the boards today. A lot of that I thought was going smaller, and Rui was exceptional on that end. But yeah, we'll see where they go in Game 5 in that.
Yeah. We can move off of it or whatever. It's just
Mhm.
it concerns me when this has been the theme of the series to this point, and then it isn't. You know, that part of it. Like, I know Ham is a rookie head coach, and I know that he's put in a really tough spot here because there's such high expectations of this Lakers team now, but he's got to be better, man. Like, the Lakers finished regulation with 2 timeouts in their back pocket. There was no timeout at the end of the first half when Memphis is on like a 14-1 run or whatever nonsense it
Exactly.
was. Like, I don't know. I know Darvin likes to defer to players, and I know that he's going to trust his players to a fault, but you have to be better than that. Like, it was funny because Chuck was, they went to the halftime show, and then as part of the halftime show, the guys on TNT talk about the game prior, right? And in that one, Budenholzer,
Hmm.
Darvin Ham's mentor, right, one of his mentors, is coaching in that one, doesn't call a timeout while Miami is on a 15 to whatever run in the
Mhm.
fourth quarter to wind up winning that one. And I'm like watching, I'm like, hey, we gonna talk about the other, like we're gonna talk about this guy who just did the same thing? Like, oh, it was maddening. All right, really quick though, because you have to be little backstory on this one. I'm gonna play the clip. I'm gonna play a really short version of it, but
Okay.
it's as somebody says, George Santiago says it is a where is it? Dun. I don't think it's Dungeons and Dragons, but I forget what game it is. It's some video game where they go out there and like the point is to like you have one team against like a level or whatever. These guys are like literally strategizing outside this room, talking about how they're going to go about like, winning this level.
Okay.
And then this happens.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragons!
Oh my god, he just ran in.
Save him!
Oh geez, stick to the plane! Oh Jesus, let's go.
Stick to the plan, Shove!
Stick to the plane! Oh gee, oh fuck.
Give me divine intervention!
Hurry up. Shout.
He's saying I can't cast! I can't move, am I lagging?
Everybody dies. Everybody dies in that clip, and
I'm gonna be completely honest. I've never heard that in my life. Like I've never heard that.
That
I've
is
never heard that.
unbelievable.
Never heard that.
World of
audio in my
Warcraft.
life.
Thank you, George. It was. It was
I've heard of World of Warcraft. Like I've heard of.
and JD. But these guys are outside this room, like strategizing, and it's so funny too, because like the guy who's doing the talking in the middle is like rotating his character around to make sure his character is looking at all of the people. It doesn't make any difference, but he's just like rotating his player around as if he's like giving this speech at the beginning of Independence Day or at the beginning of the Battle of Independence Day, and this guy just goes, Leroy Jenkins, and just fucks everything up. And that was like that. Vanderbilt at the beginning of this game calling his own number. You could actually hear him from the corner. Leroy Jenkins.
Learn something new every day. Man.
All right, let's talk about AD. We have to talk about AD. This is yet another game here where the physicality in this one, I think, got to him. He's getting a very different whistle than every other player. I don't mean to sound like a wiener who is whining about the referees at the end of a win or whatever, but like the kind of contact that they are allowing on AD is significantly greater than the kind of contact that they're allowing for every other player out there. And like part of it is like we talked about after his last stinker offensively, and how it has a lot to do with as he's going up, he's already moving. So the referee doesn't see the physicality affecting the play, affecting the attempt directly. He's already going in that direction, and therefore they're letting it slide. So I think that's a factor here. He also, like we've talked about, Raj, he will have these games where he just doesn't want to dunk the ball. Like he just, you look at games where he starts it in the first quarter. If he has a first quarter two-handed dunk in traffic, it's going to be a good AD game. Like it's going to be like he's going to get that going. It gets him going physically, and it kind of sets a tone for what he's going to try to do for the rest of the game there. But in this one, like, and in was it game 2? Yeah, it was game 2. Where, it's a lot of, he started that one with some fadeaways and some stuff like that. And in this one, it wasn't the same kind of fadeaways, but it was a lot of attempts at the rim where he's not moving towards the rim, and he's not going to get the benefit of the call if he's not doing that. So, like, I'm curious from what you're watching, what can the Lakers do? Because they've really been trying to get him, in these switches and take advantage of these switches, and it grinds their offense to a halt. I think they got to move off of that.
Yeah, I think the wrong counter to me. So Memphis is doing a really nice job. Number one, they're fronting him, right? So if there's any smaller player, they're going to front the post, and they have Jaren Jackson Jr. on the backside helping. And we're taking way too long. We're like swinging the ball around the perimeter, and then like it gets to the corner. There was one play where it went to Troy Brown, and he's like has ball pressure on him, trying to get it to Anthony Davis, who's being fronted in the post, and they have the back pressure. And you saw Dennis too as well try to force it in, and Jackson's just standing right there. I don't think that's the right play, but I thought at least for this game, I thought he was very first. I want to give him credit. The defense he's playing is out of this world. Like the rebounding was a little bit, questionable tonight, but I thought his defense is still incredible. I mean, 4 blocks again, had 4 turnovers, but 4 blocks on the night, and he has to work so hard. I mean, Ja and Bane, who had a really great night, so he had to step up a little higher on Bane tonight. And those like mid-range, that's a lot of work for him to like be in a stance, be ready for Ja, and then have to work and guard Bane off a handoff. Like that's a ton of defensive, responsibility for him at 41 minutes. But I think offensively, like, I don't think that's the counter. He's going to have to hit jump shots. He hit one big mid-range 2 tonight with like the shot clock going down.
Yeah.
It swished right through.
It was a Stu Lance shot. It was Stu Lance will always say like, if somebody's really kind of struggling with their rhythm, he likes to see them. Yeah. He likes to see them get that shot late in the shot clock where it's just like, you got to get it out of your hands. When he shot that one, as he was catching, I was like, oh, this is good. Cause he doesn't have to think about it. He can't think about it.
Oh, I did not think that was good. I was like, man, this guy has not taken a jump shot in like,
Look at you, Raj. Look at you, the hater.
No,
you can't be like a true fan like myself.
Well, a couple of previous possessions before, he had like a corner 3 and it airballed. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, like there's no way this shot's going in. But
not late in the shot clock though. It wasn't late in the shot clock.
It wasn't like buzzer beater level, but and Dennis kicked it out to him there. But like I think that will open it up. It's just he's so focused on getting to the rim. You talked about not dunking the ball. He's getting grabbed, and the refs are like, unless you're getting pummeled, you're not getting the call. So all those like Jackson bumping him with the elbow or Dylan Brooks bumping him off his spot, none of that's getting called. Like they're like, no, you play through all that. And yeah, I think.
Although if you shove Salty Aldama just a little too hard, you're we're calling that on you. Good Lord.
I mean you have to also be smart there. Like let Santi Aldama go and get the rebound. You know, don't get your don't get your third foul there. Like don't get your third foul.
Oh no, I totally agree. I also understand the frustration there. Yeah. Right? Like they also try to call that one touch foul on him when Roddy is literally climbing on his shoulder as he shoots that. That one was overturned. They called the one like the everybody could see it from a mile away where he's one-on-one with Desmond Bane. All Bane does is like run into him, hoping to fall over. And I can totally understand. And look, I am probably harder on Anthony Davis than just about anybody else, maybe in the world. And like still, even I can say this is not like the difference in refereeing here is so noticeable that it's really hard to expect somebody to to overcome all of that and have any kind of rhythm offensively, where he knows what he isn't allowed to do defensively. And then to not, to turn around and have every single Memphis Grizzly, like actual Grizzly Bears, are chomping on his calves, and it's just like, nope, not a foul. Play through it, AD. Like that's tough. That's I don't know how you get through that.
Yeah, I mean, look. So I thought it was in his head. There was a play where, in the transition play, right, where I thought that might have been game. Honestly, there was AD stole it, picked Bane at like half court, went the other way, right. And I'm like, 80, like, even if that's not an offensive foul, you can't let your arm like release from your body, right? That's what they're looking for there. And like, he got an offensive foul there, and then Bane went on the other end and hit a 3 to put them up 7. But he's gonna have to figure it out. Like to me, the jump shot has to be a part of his game. Like he started hitting it as the regular season winded down. That little pick and pop is there every time. Jackson is just leaving him. He's like, I'm not even guarding him, and they're throwing 2 guys. If you notice now, Anthony, they're not even leaking out really anymore. It's Jaws the only one that runs. They're sending everyone to the boards. They're like, go box out, Anthony Davis. So Desmond Bane, you'll see when Jackson comes over, Bane will go and grab AD and like just do whatever the hell he wants because they're not going to call anything. So he has to kind of figure that out. The post ups to me are just, he has to be quicker, and those like little jump hooks, that's his game. He has to hit those like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like that he just has to hit those. But the 13 attempts to me is him just not wanting to take jump shots. Like if you don't want to take anything outside of the paint, you're gonna end up with 13 shots sometimes because that's just you're not getting all the way to the rim with the paint packed as it is. They're helping off Dennis. They're helping off Troy Brown. They even started helping out they started helping off D'Lo a little bit as the game went on, which is a little worrisome. But and D'Lo again just cannot hit 50% from the field. 46%. I think you said
he's
45.
above. That's the first time in his career above 45% in a playoff game.
Yes, 46.7% for D'Lo tonight. But yeah, I think like the jump shot has to be a part of the shot diet, and it gets him in a rhythm. 0 offensive rebounds at halftime, finishes with 2, and that was definitely a point of emphasis for Taylor Jenkins. And I think that's kind of why LeBron went and got 20 of them. They sent so many people onto AD.
They went to they went to Dylan Brooks to try to get some kind of comment. This is now the second straight game that he has ducked that smoke.
Wow.
So Mr. Smoke Inhaler apparently is not interested at this point. And you know what? Like, all right, quick tangent. I think this is going to wind up being good for Dylan Brooks. Like either he's going to take this and actually get good at basketball, like actually become a basketball player, or he's just going to stop talking and stop, cashing checks that his team then has to, or, writing checks that his team has to go out there and cash. Right. Memphis is probably going to lose this series, and, either Memphis will move off of Brooks altogether and upgrade at that spot, which they probably should do anyway.
Yeah.
Or he's going to look at this experience and I would hope, and I don't want to get all high and mighty and preachy or whatever here, but he does need to mature on this one. Like he said some really stupid shit and didn't back it up and forced his team to have to back it up. He gets ejected in the one game after he says all the dumb stuff. And then in the next game after that, he shows up, goes 4 of 11, 1 of 7 from 3-point range. Like, you aren't helping your team, bud. You're actively hurting your team, not just with your play, but also by like pissing off the best player of your generation. And I'm not going to complain about it for the sake of the series because I think it did lead in part to the Lakers wind up. I think they're going to win this thing in 5, but yeah, that was Brooks taking the wiener way out here is tough to see.
Well, not just that. So he's 2 for his last, he's 2 for 12 from 3, like in the last few games, right? And then also they're just absolutely playing off him. He had a big 3 actually tonight, which made me a little bit worried.
Schroeder was like actively running away from him.
Exactly.
On that one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I think a lot of people have said like the heel role isn't for everyone, right? Like the villain role isn't for everyone. If you can't play mad or like if you can't play upset, then it's an issue. I think this is the second straight season where he's really tanked his team in a game. I remember the game 4, I believe, against the Warriors last year, where he just took like 20 shots for no reason, and people are blaming the coach. And like to me, you can't like reel in Dylan Brooks now, right? Like you can't go a whole regular season, give him all. You're saying
Dylan Brooks went for
ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me learn this, huh?
I'm gonna send you the link to that video, and you're gonna.
Okay.
It's like a 4 or 5 minute video. It's kind of long.
I've heard of World of Warcraft. Like I've heard of that. I've never played it, but I've heard of World of Warcraft. No, but like for Dylan Brooks, I think his role should have been I'm guarding LeBron. I'm gonna shut up. Like let me just win the series. But he talked too much after game 2 for no reason really. Like no one was even like going at him for that. Like he gave those quotes by himself. There was no one was soliciting those quotes from Dylan Brooks. He just fed those out for no reason. So yeah, I mean he probably cost his team as the starting shooting guard for 2 straight years. And we both follow Memphis people. Fast Break Breakfast does a great job as well. Like I heard his pod. He said he's like done with Dylan Brooks, and I feel like a lot of Memphis fans are like.
I would be. See, find me the one Memphis fan who's like, hell yeah, go do it.
But like the line, Anthony, from from Dylan Brooks to like Ron Artest, right? Like there's
Yeah.
that gap there in skill and like production and who comes through. Like that's the gap. All it is, right? Draymond Green as well, right? Comes through whenever his team like
Yeah.
kind of needs it, even when he talks shit. He's able to play through it and produce, and that's the difference to me. All the stuff Dylan Brooks said would not be a problem if he shot well from three, like was not like he wasn't actively hurting his team by being on the floor. Like all that's the reason these comments rain hollow. And he decides to stop talking after he loses, which makes it look even worse for him.
Which was funny because the knock that he had on LeBron in that moment was, where was LeBron? LeBron wasn't talking before I picked up my fourth. He's finding circumstances to start talking. LeBron James is really nervous to talk to Dylan fucking Brooks. Yeah, sure. Here we go. That's what this is. I want to talk about another, kind of concerning trend here from Memphis. This from JD, and I pulled up the comment here for those of you listening on the podcast. Dylan Brooks' teammates had his back tonight. Multiple groin shots in tribute to him. This is weird now, right? Like this is like, yeah. So you had Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane, like I think that was pretty accidental, right? He's driving, and he likes to get contact anyway.
Would you say that if you were Anthony Davis in that,
no,
that
I mean,
position?
no, no, absolutely not. But like also like the one Jaren Jackson's should have been a T. I thought that should have been a flagrant because they showed the one.
Yeah.
They showed the angle on it from over Jackson's right shoulder that like clearly shows his hand going into that region. Because at first I was wondering why Dennis reacted that way. Like I was wondering, he just kind of stuck. Initially, I thought like maybe he bumped knees with Jackson because Jackson kind of stuck his leg underneath him or something like that. It was an awkward fall. But then you look at that view and I'm like, so like, I don't think he needed to be ejected or anything like that. But how is that not flagrant? Like, how is that not? But usually you set a screen and your hands are here by your sides, and like occasionally you stick out a shoulder or something like that. But to like send the right arm in there like that into that area, like usually that's at least a flagrant one.
Yeah.
And that is how many times have Grizzlies players made contact with Lakers nuts? Like that's got to be like 4, 5.
TNT did a montage. Like who does a montage of like groin hits? And only like 3 of them were called, which is the weirdest part. They did like the montage of groin hits, and like the one that was called was that Dennis Schroeder one, which honestly I thought he just flopped. Like I thought that's what it was, and then they showed the replay. I was like, oh, okay, that's why. But yeah, LeBron got hit as well, and then AD obviously with the Desmond Bane one. Yeah, it was weird. That was strange. And then obviously Dylan Brooks got ejected for his in the last game. But to see a montage of groin hits in Game 4. Just right. They had it ready too, which is just really strange.
Their production team beforehand was like, guys, just flag this real quick. Memphis likes to do this apparently. We might get another one. They are averaging more nut shots per game than wins at this like it's one thing to have it happen every so often or whatever, but to have it happen every game now, like I don't know. I think the Lakers need to because they all take their stroll into the arena. They all need to have they need to be wearing their cups on the outside of their pants, just to highlight to the league, hey guys, they keep hitting us in the deck. Like this is not okay. This is enough. All right. Is there anything else from this? Like any adjustment here? I think the Lakers have a real chance at winning this thing in 5. I thought Lakers in 5. I bet Lakers in 5 coming into the series.
Yep.
Memphis, like when this went to overtime, you could kind of see Memphis's shoulders kind of like drop quite a bit. To win, to feel like you just won in regulation, and then have the home team, wind up sending it to overtime. You just, kind of saw. I thought the Lakers, in spite of themselves, like in the fourth quarter, the Lakers had the ball in a transition spot. It was 5-on-4, and they could have gone for a 2-for-1 there. LeBron
Yeah.
pulls the ball out, right? They turn the ball over, and Memphis takes a 2-point lead there. Obviously, LeBron comes down, makes his 2-pointer, sends it to overtime. But then at the start of overtime, and I get it, everybody's exhausted or whatever. So, and Stan was saying like they were pulling the ball out just to like catch their breaths. And I get it. Like it's not for me and my 3 chins to tell these super athletes like buck up and run or whatever. But also like Memphis's defense when they get set up is really effing good.
Yeah.
And I thought like the main difference, when the Lakers took their 15-point lead and when the Lakers got back into the game, they really like they were running. They were getting stops. They were running. Like the Lakers are a really good transition basketball team. And when they try to slow the game down, which is what LeBron wants to do in the playoffs, they really tend to struggle. So I don't know. I really think like the key going into they only have one game in between these next 2, right? So they play on Wednesday. Like on Wednesday, I think the key is going to be getting stops, getting out in transition, and taking Memphis' crowd out of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think AD, will be a more aggressive. And one thing that will kind of go. So obviously, D'Lo had a first half from hell, but when we started the third quarter, he kind of got going a little bit. He hit like 3 straight mid-range jump shots. He got to the rim a little bit, and I think like that's a place he can kind of shake loose. I'm like, where was that in the first half? You can get to that mid-range spot all game, and he kind of settled us down after obviously Memphis, roared back, but. Yeah, I thought the difference was just Jackson blocking everything and us just going at him every time. That play you're talking about with the turnover, LeBron like tried to find Rui like at the end of the game, and Rui cut, and Jackson blocked that like to oblivion. Where I feel
Oh
like
my God, it
feel
was
like
a volleyball spike.
I thought he could have caught it. Like he just like swatted that, and then he got it up ahead to Ja, who hit like a behind the back pass to Bane, I believe, and then LeBron tied it, but. Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough to go into Memphis now. I feel like our legs are dead with the 1 day off. Maybe you can, make Memphis kind of feel it, make them feel tight. You survived the really good Bane game. We'll see if like he continues. But with Desmond Bane, though, I feel like we're still making him take the shots we want him to take.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like he was 3 for 7 from 3. I think he hit one really late. 7 for 14
he was 3 of 12 from 3.
3 for 12. Why do I see 3? Oh, I'm looking at Sunday's game. But 3 for 12. I don't know why I went to Sunday's game. But yeah, 3 for 12 from 3 and 13.
Man, AD played really well in this one. I don't know what stats you're looking at.
I was adding up Dylan Brooks's 2 games. That's what it was. But 13 for 29. So you forced Bane into 29 shot attempts, 7 free throws, made all of those, but 29 shot attempts to get his 36.
53 attempts from their backcourt.
Yeah, and you forced Ja again into those one-handed shots. Only took six threes. Didn't have the rhythm for that. Well, 6 threes is a lot for him, but forced him into those mid-range shots. Andy, how about Ja trying to just jump over LeBron every time like that? Oh my God! And LeBron taking the charges on all of those, like that was a little scary. But we'll see if we can kind of slow them down.
It's scarier, I think, for Memphis fans than for Lakers fans. Right?
Yeah,
like. Worst case scenario, Ja like lands on LeBron, and we saw that, right? Like Ja did kind of land on LeBron's neck on the second one, but on both of those, you're looking at both of those, and you're like, Ja, shoot a floater.
But that's a tough shot, though. Like I know Ja makes it look easy, but like stay in the air, maneuver around AD, and then hit a floater, and that looks easy when he makes it, but like that's a tough shot to be your consistent shot that you have to get your points on. And again, that's why the 8 for 24 is there. But Anthony, so this is a 2-7 matchup, but obviously this is not a real 2-7 because of the Lakers trades and all that. To me, though, what this game and what this series has kind of pushed, and I don't want to look ahead, obviously you still have to finish out Memphis, but I think these are the 2 best defensive teams in the Western Conference. Like, I feel like no doubt these are probably the 2 best defensive teams, and this is a defensive.
Either that or they're the 2 worst offensive half-court teams.
I'm gonna lean the other way a little bit. Look, you have the defensive player of the year on one end, and you have the actual defensive player of the year on the. No, I'm just kidding. Jaren Jackson
Mhm.
Jr. deserves his award, but
No, don't
you
say.
have
Come on, say it with your chest. We're all thinking it. The fact that all right, here's why I'm going to say it with my chest. Then
all right.
the Lakers in multiple games on the stretches of in the biggest moments of these games in playoff games, the Lakers went out of their way to target Jaren Jackson Jr. Like in game 1, they put Jaren Jackson Jr. in a whole bunch of pick and rolls, and he was in that deep drop, and Austin Reeves cooked the Grizzlies as a result of it. And then here in this one, LeBron, either he was looking for Ja, which makes some sense, but also did a lot of looking for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
And I think
didn't expect that.
a lot of it, I think, has to do with if Jaren is on the ball, he's not roaming. He's not your safety there. He's not your free safety doing free safety things. So I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
But I also don't see Memphis going out of their way to attack AD. Right? Like
No.
I don't really see that happening as often, right? It was just kind of like the Gobert thing when he was racking up his defensive player of the year things. It was like, yeah, it's probably not a great sign when the opposing team sees that guy and puts that guy in pick and rolls down the stretches of these games time and time and time again. That can't be the defensive player of the year. Can't be.
Right. 100%. And also, I think we're doing a nice job also taking Jackson out offensively, right? He was only 5 for 15, 0 for 4 from 3. We're flying at him now a little bit more than we were, not giving those pick and pops to him. But yeah, LeBron did pick on, Jaren Jackson. That's a good point, trying to pick a good amount of paint. But he also was like, I'm going to get by this dude a couple times. Like, he's like, I can turn the corner a little bit on Jackson in a way he couldn't on Tillman, which was a really strange development there. But
Xavier Tillman's the real defensive player of the year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, don't put that in my mouth. No. But no, Tillman was how about Tillman Anthony playing 41 minutes for them? Like that shows like how important he was. I know it went to overtime, but like that shows how important he was and also how little they trust kind of everyone else on the floor. But
yeah,
to me, these are the best two defensive teams, and beating this team, and I know your prediction is 5, like that be insane. Even if 2-7 being a 2 seed in 5 games with them having that, they won the one game that Ja didn't play, so you can't even really use that because like they won that game, so you got to throw that one out anyway. So you beat them every time that they had their superstar in John Morant. That'd be super impressive. But to me, these are two. This has been a defensive war to me, and yeah, these aren't great half court offensives, but still, these defenses have been insane. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis combining for 9 blocks tonight. I mean, that's just 2 dudes who protect the rim better than anyone. So it was awesome to see LeBron a 20-2 and 20 game like that. That's just nuts.
Bananas.
That's insane.
Year 30. He's 38 years old. Yeah, I'm with you on kind of the tone of this game, and it's really going to be interesting to see the clash of style, no matter who moves on from this one, right? I think it's going to be the Lakers. I think it's going to be the Warriors, and you're going to get this clash of style with those two teams. If it would have been Memphis and Kings, you would have gotten that same clash. So it's really kind of cool to see. In an era that is as homogenous as the NBA, I think has kind of become with offensive approach. Looking forward, looking ahead, no matter which two teams came out of their various matchups, the second round was always going to be a fascinating one.
Well, I just want to give some credit here because we didn't even talk about the leading scorer for the Lakers tonight, which was Austin Reeves, by the way, who somehow finished with 23.
Despite foul trouble.
Despite foul. Yeah, well, imagine what he would have had if, he just didn't stupidly foul.
40, easy.
Yeah, that's how that works. But he still played 41 minutes, so didn't lose too many minutes. But 23 points, a plus 12 on the night, 7 for 8 from the line. And to me, one of the biggest plays of the game, Anthony, Memphis ratcheted up their ball pressure. Like you could tell it was uncomfortable level of ball pressure. And LeBron just didn't have it in him. He's like just throwing the ball ahead. D'Lo, the ball pressure was too high for him. And we went to Austin Reeves, like pick and roll. Austin Reeves, again, decide where you go, double drag or one screen coming for him. And he kicked it out, I think, to Rui one time. He kicked it out to LeBron. But the biggest play to me, Memphis was on a huge run. I think it got put into AD and he just didn't have it. He kicked it out to Austin. ball fake, drive, Euro, 2-step layup to like tie the
Oh,
game.
huge bucket.
I was
Yeah.
like, holy crap, dude. Like this dude is
Yeah.
for real. Like here for the moment. Like it's not too big for him. That shot was insane. He had the 3-2 right in the corner to tie the game, I think.
Yeah.
And like it was on a closeout. LeBron swung it to him and he tied it at like 93. Just
With
another
like 4 seconds to go on the shot clock too.
just another
Had to
clutch
take it.
performance. So
Well,
2 for 5 from 3.
it was also he also, he had the one pass in the first half where he was on the right wing and he had a pick and roll, and I think he winds up going between the legs and spinning off of the screen, and he winds up kicking the ball to D'Angelo Russell, who was wide open on the left wing, and Russell winds up missing the shot. But like when he did that, Jen was actually still awake, so I was allowed to kind of like act a fool. And he goes between the legs and spins off of it, and I'm like, holy shit! and then he takes another dribble there, throws the ball, I think over the top of his like head, and hits Russell like right between the numbers for that 3, which was wide open. Russell just needs to can it, and he doesn't, but still, like, this is year 2, man, and yeah, it's an older year 2, and if there is a situation to be groomed in, it's playing next to LeBron and it's playing next to AD, right? So like that certainly helps, and it's like coming up in an organization with Phil Handy there to work with you every day. But he has taken full advantage of that, and like what we're seeing from him this year is exciting enough and insane enough in its own right. But another full offseason of bulking up, of tightening that handle. He became a knockdown spot up shooter in year 2, Raj. That's bananas. It's insane. If I see him open, I trust him more than any other Laker. Any other one. Russell, Beasley, Brown, even like Rui when he was playing like Rui Allen. Like it is Reeves, and there's like a bit of a gap there between everybody else. And I think other teams are really starting to recognize it too. He's been that good.
He's like, just not to mix words, he's been the main shot creator for a team that's about to go the second round. Like that's a real thing to say. LeBron's been, part of, obviously LeBron does his thing, but it's been Reeves at the end of this game. Game 1 was Austin Reeves. Tonight was again Austin Reeves. And throughout the game, he's the one that's running actions. They're giving the ball to him, and like they're like, cook. And you talked about having the full summer. I don't think he went into this coming summer being like, yeah, I'm gonna have the ball in my hands. Like I don't think that's what he worked on.
Why not?
Like I'm sure he's like, I need to catch and shoot. I need to get better at attacking closeouts. This summer it should be okay. Now, like if they're over helping on this side, what's my read? What's my skip pass? Like that's insane for a guy who's again undrafted. Probably going to be if D'Lo gets the contract that he's expecting, like still probably not going to be the highest guard paid on the team.
No.
He's outplayed D'Lo pretty substantially throughout the playoffs, which I didn't I knew Austin was good. I didn't think he'd outplay him at this.
My hot take is I think Austin should be the starting point guard next year. Go trade D'Lo for a shooting guard and see what you do.
Yeah, I mean Austin, I'm sure they'll be back, but yeah, it's crazy to watch him not just be handed the keys, because like I mean, there's times where LeBron will give the keys to a guard, but like these are playoff games. Like it's like he's not Kyrie Irving, but like it reminds me of that, like where LeBron's like
he's the only other guard that LeBron trusted that way.
You're right. Mario Chalmers didn't really have the type of free range to.
I mean, I guess if you want to say Wade, right? Like you can maybe say Wade, but
established, yeah,
right. But like Wade wasn't a point guard, right? Like the only other point guard that LeBron trusted the way that he has trusted Reeves so far in these playoffs was Kyrie, and that's
little bit of Rondo, but that was pretty. It's pretty much Austin.
Well, but like. Kyrie. No, because like that was bubble LeBron. Like he was handling all of that shit. And down the stretch of those games, Caruso was in the game, and it wasn't like Caruso was doing pick and roll
down
stuff.
The stretch. You're right.
So yeah, it's pretty bananas. But like It's crazy, and I know that like the word unprecedented gets thrown around there quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This Lakers season is in its own right unprecedented, right? To see a team be as bad as they were at one point this year, be capable of winning a playoff series off of completely reshaping their roster. That doesn't happen very often. But what we're seeing from Austin Reeves, an undrafted second year player, handling the ball the way that he does on a LeBron James team, that's unprecedented. You don't see that. You just don't. And like, granted, like on the biggest possession of the game, it was LeBron who takes Xavier Tillman off of the dribble and he gets to the rim. Yeah. But it's nice to be able to have options.
Oh man, no, he's been incredible. And the crazy part, so the Minnesota trade obviously is going to be the Minnesota additions are the ones that's going to be kind of plastered everywhere. But if you look at our closing lineup, though, Anthony, it's kind of the guys who weren't involved in that. It's Dennis, Austin, Rui, LeBron, and AD. Nothing to do with the rest, which is kind of crazy. The kind of talent that they added. So, but imagine being Memphis though, right? Like you're the 2 seed. You go through this whole season. Obstacles come your way, but like obviously John Morant returns. You win without him, right? You survive. You get sent home because Austin Reeves is just too good. Like that's a tough way to go home. Like
have you been listening at all to Bill Simmons' podcast? Do you listen to Simmons' podcast at all?
Sometimes I haven't listened.
I only do when the Lakers are good because it pisses him off so much. And the way that he talks about Austin Reeves, like it warms this old cold heart. Like the way that he's just like he fucking lands in their lap and like they luck out with Austin Reeves and all this stuff, and it's just like and you could hear the hate in his heart, and hearing that from a Celtics fan, look at me, I'm shining. Like, I'm about to start levitating.
I listened to that one because I remember Bill Simmons was like, I think they get credit, and Ryan Russillo was like, of course they get credit. What do you mean?
Yeah,
like, he's like, I think they kind of get like. He's like, what are you talking about? Of course they get that.
Exactly. All right, I think shitting on Bill Simmons is a good way to end this thing. So again, the Lakers wind up winning 117 to 111 in overtime, a game that I didn't think needed to go to overtime, but if you are going to go there, you may as well win the damn thing. We'll see what this thing looks like. Only one day off now between games as the league tries to avoid the NFL draft as much as they possibly can. I'm like weirdly confident. No, not weirdly. I'm like weirdly optimistic that they might be able to close this thing out on Wednesday. LeBron has said that he feels more in rhythm off of one day off only. We'll see. AD, the hip stuff, we didn't really mention it over the course of the show. He was really kind of bothered, something going on with his hip in a way that, Chris Haynes reported on the sideline. He just didn't look like himself. So that's worth keeping an eye on as well. But real chance here to go out, win this thing in 5, and rest up as it looks like, Kings Warriors is going to come down to at least a 6-game series, right? So you got to take care of business here.
Lakers won all 3 of their first series in 5 in 2020. So it's continue that that reign. LeBron's pretty good at stepping on the throats usually. Once he has you down in the series, usually closes it out. So we'll see. This is gonna take some time to recover from though. That was a hell of a game to
try to survive. Like just try to get through.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna end this thing the way it needs to be ended.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Oh my god, he just ran in.